Welcome to He Did This to Me, the sports podcast from a father and son who happen to be mostly optimistic Knicks, Mets, and Jets fans. My name is Nick, a.k.a. Goody, and with me is my old man, a.k.a. the big guy, Noel. And just like his name, all we do is win. Let's get to the show. It's time to begin. Jalen Brunson took a very unprecedented pay cut, something that was rumored. And he goes ahead and he sacrifices $113 million by taking the extension this year, not waiting until next year, and immediately becomes the king of New York. What did you think when you found out that he was actually putting pen to paper and Jalen Brunson was coming back to the Knicks at a discount and giving the franchise the flexibility?
Oh, well, listen, you can't be a Knicks fan and not love it. I mean, who would hear that as a Knicks fan and, I don't know, have anything negative to say about it? Although I've read some fools saying some foolishness online. I don't know if he has any sort of deal worked out with anyone. I don't care. That doesn't make a difference to me. If people think that there aren't certain deals made with players as far as longevity, they're fools. But even if it is, that's a great thing. I mean, listen, he doesn't have to do what he did.
What do you mean? Like some under the table, like, hey, we'll take care of you on the next.
Right.
They're not doing the Joe Smith shit. Remember that with Joe Smith, Minnesota, Joe Smith, they did some shit like that.
But then they can back out.
Somehow they had some sort of like, there was some sort of paper trail of them doing this, and they got in huge trouble, like lost draft picks and a bunch of shit like that. You don't remember that?
I don't actually, but no, I don't think. Listen. I don't think that's. I know Leon Rose isn't stupid enough to put it on paper. Number one. Number two. I don't think that's necessary. I don't even think it's necessary to say, well, we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. A lot of it's understood. And listen, Jalen Rose, I'm sure, made this decision on his own. I love it because he is actually that athlete who has minimal ego, just enough to be successful, but doesn't have to be a jerk about it, and also doesn't have to make it affect the monetary situation. I think something like this is a lot easier to do, Nick, when you're talking about as a consolation prize, he's taking $40 to $45 million a year. You know what I mean? It's not like he's taking some shitty salary. Now, he could absolutely demand that I must be the highest paid player on this team and so forth and stuff like that. But that would be counterproductive for him.
But when I said that about iHeart, you scoffed at it. When I said
what
like iHeart, when I said like, listen, at the end of the day, if you're making 17 million or you're making 29 million in a year, I understand it is a significant difference in overall money, but at the end of the day, you're rich either way.
No, I disagree. That's the difference. That's $11 million, number one. Number two, iHeart hasn't gotten that big contract yet. This is his first chance at really striking gold. I saw iHeart talk about it. He said, it was a very difficult decision for him, but $11 million difference a year. This is his chance to really solidify his family.
He's a loser.
Okay?
Go be a loser in OKC. And you're not even going to be on the floor at the end of games, and you're going to be looking over what the Knicks are doing, and you're going to be sad. No one says OKC. Once the Thunder, always a Thunder.
You would have done the same thing.
I know I wouldn't have.
Yeah, okay. Because you'd be a fan. If you didn't, then you'd be a fanboy and not a player who knows his worth. Come on, man.
No, listen, I can't begrudge him what he did. I'm just annoyed that he's not a Knicks.
Well, I also think it's also a bullshit where I've read a couple of people want to give Jalen Brunson shit. First of all, no one's ever given Tom Brady or any guys like that shit for taking less money. Where in the NFL, the quarterbacks expect every new quarterback to get a higher salary, so they keep bumping it up, right? Now, I heard some people say that, Jalen Brunson, you're messing up the game or whatever, Listen, man, everybody's got to make their own decisions for their own heart and their own mind. And I think that's all it comes down to. He doesn't have to do anything for anybody else. He needs to do what he thinks is right for him and his situation. And I think he did a great thing. Some people say he puts pressure on other players to do the right thing, like a Brandon Ingram right now is in that situation. Oh, well, I can't help you with that. You got to do you.
This has been going on for as long as I can remember in sports. I mean, I go back to Tim Duncan, who was a guy who routinely would not get the absolute max and would give that team some more flexibility. And what did that ended up leading to? 5 rings over the course of his
Right.
career. And that's what Jalen Brunson is prioritizing. That's what we're seeing is that what's most important to him is the fact that he wants to go out here and he wants to win and he wants to do it with the work environment and the people that he enjoys and feels the most comfortable with. I mean, listen, the president is his former agent. The coach has known him since he was, in short pants. His dad is sitting right next to him. His 3 best friends are here. That's worth
So much
an uncountable,
more.
amount of money. So to him, if that allows us to be able to continue to keep these guys around. I'm sure that at the beginning of the summer there was conversations like, "Oh, if we get McHale, I'll take the discount." And now there's rumors that McHale will take the discount as well. Obviously, we'll see what happens with his dad and Tibbs if that extension gets done. And tomorrow, on July 18th, Julius is now eligible to be able to take that discount, which I want to dig into that a little bit more as far as what we think he's going to do and what that says about the Knicks' plans when it comes to him. But continue to focusing on Jalen a little bit. Brady, Mahomes, Woj came out and he said that was part of his thought process is you can get paid, but if you can set yourself up to win, then
Worth
that's
much
what's most
more.
important to him. And I think that what a lot of people aren't understanding is that if you want to be a team that is consistently good with this new structure that's coming out, this new structure that our owner James Dolan, who we haven't heard from for a while, really doesn't like, by the way. But with this new structure and the second apron, and I'm not even saying I totally 100% understand it. What I do understand is that without this flexibility, it doesn't just become a thing where you're paying a crazy tax. It really becomes a thing where, draft picks are involved, what
Yeah.
kind of trades you can make are involved, what kind
Mhm.
of mid-level exceptions, all these different things. And if you hamstrung a team with a crazy contract, a la a guy like Paul George, we'll see how, like you said, in the last couple of years of that contract with the new restrictions being put in, they're going to have a really, really tough time. And listen, OG gave up some money. Everybody says, "Oh, well,
That's right.
OG made sure he got his back." OG did give up some money. He did not get the absolute max that he was able to get
Which you could have
with his
gotten.
years of service, which he absolutely could have
Philly
gotten somewhere
clearly
else.
would have given him that.
Clearly, right? Okay, clearly, right? So OG did that, and everybody seems to forget and never bring up the fact that Julius is the first did exactly what Brunson just did a couple years ago, where again, coming off of an All NBA, All Star season, he was absolutely going to be able to get that max money that he was allocated, but decided to come back here again. More masterwork by Leon Rose and Brunson. If he wins, he's immortal. We know that. But just even right now, you're already, in my opinion, the second best Nick I've ever seen. And that's crazy to be saying that, but I don't even understand how I can say, how you could even talk about anybody else other than Patrick Ewing if you're not somebody who saw Clyde Frazier. And, he just continues to do everything right. He makes a post right after on Instagram where it's just him alone in a gym and it just says nothing changes. He's just that guy, man. He does it all right. He's out at a basket. He's out in the city somewhere at a game, a street ball game with him, his pops, his whole family there. Like he just does it all right. And I couldn't be happier that he's our guy.
You know what? Honestly, and I don't. You know me. I'm not looking to give the Yankees credit, but this guy is becoming the New York City basketball equivalent of Jeter, and just doing everything right. I'm convinced if he was single, he'd have the gift bags by the door. You know what I'm saying? He knows what he's doing. He knows
Right,
what
right,
he's
right,
doing.
right, right, right,
You
right.
know, and a personalized note. That was always the best story about Jeter. That's the best. But no, listen, he's doing the right thing now. When you compare him to these other guys as far as giving up the money, it does appear that he may have given up more than anyone else, but that number is going higher and higher, right? I mean, you're going to see more in that as these guys' salaries just continue to blow up. But I think something that Dolan talked about might make a difference. I gather from the little bit I read, and what he's upset about is there's a disadvantage here to teams that have a good and successful and profitable network like MSG.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have to profit share with other teams that like I heard one person look at it a certain way that says, "How would you feel if you're James Dolan and some other team owner, you got a profit share with him and give him some of your money because you're making money, he's not. But this dude's filthy rich. He's a billionaire too, but his team is not making money. So I got to give him some of my money." I wouldn't be happy with that either. I mean, that's the rules, but that might piss me off too. But let's face it, that's billionaire problems, right? So
But you know
I'm
what,
not too
though?
sympathetic.
As we know, especially from being Mets fans, we know that the TV money is extremely important. The Wilpons
Yes.
still have SNY. That's their whole thing was that they were like, okay, we'll go ahead and we'll give it the Mets, but they're not giving up that TV money. And as we both know, the level of production as people who've had to move away and then sometimes have to watch games not on MSG or SNY, we know that the level of production across the country, there's a couple, diamonds in the roughs out there. San Francisco's really good with Kruko and everything, and the Giants with the baseball. And there's a couple other ones that are good, but most of them they suck, and they just don't even come close to the overall just production value and the talent that the New York teams have. Like it's not the two greatest voices when it comes to play-by-play in basketball for the last 50 years have coincidentally also been the play-by-play voices for the New York Knicks. I mean, that's that's where that says it all right there. Says it all right there. Obviously, speaking of Marv Albert and Mike Breen, and also look Monica McNutt, Alan Hahn. These people are all on ESPN, prominent roles. Yep. Like are the lead play-by-play guy in the NFL right now is the former sideline reporter for the Mets. And he went straight from that to that. How often does somebody go straight from sideline reporter for a team? He's out there talking to people about, Bark in the Park and, the latest chili dog or some shit. And then he goes straight from that to being, on Fox and quickly rises the ranks and is their main guy now. I mean, come on, man. It just goes to show how we farm out talent. And yeah, the fact that we have to now, like Dolan's like, I gotta share this with some slapdick dude over here at Bally South who has Bally Southwest and some oil money cat, and he don't care about this shit at all. That sucks.
I get it. Yeah, that does suck. But you know what? Hey, you realize this could be the case when you buy into being in the NBA. And let's face it, any of these franchise owners are wildly successful monetarily. So this is just a drawback. That sucks that you might argue about, but you're not going to say, I'm out. Easy.
But there should be a minimum, though. I think that then if you're going to have that, then you should have a minimum budget. I'm talking about budget specifically for the. I'm not talking about for the salaries of the teams. I'm talking about specifically for whatever it is that you use as your production company. I mean, okay, so typically, so look at look since we've been out here. How many different networks? How many different networks have the Suns? That's what I'm saying. How many different networks have the Suns and the Diamondbacks been on since we've lived here? They've been on Bally Sports. They've been on Fox Sports Southwest. They've been on something else. Whenever the freaking Mets play them and it's blacked out on the app and you're trying to find it, you don't even know what the fuck you're looking for. So my thing is like, if that's what your situation is, and my situation is that I have MSG Network, you can't tell me that we have to now get even money when it comes to our TV money. That's wild. If I'm putting that type of money in that type of,
I don't know if it has to be even. I don't know, but there is some sort of sharing between franchises. So that pissed your man Dolan off, and I heard he smashed the guitar.
Hey, listen, man, I'm okay with Jimmy. Jimmy's in my good graces these days. He came out. He's also recently said that he loves Julius. And yeah, man, just stay in the ivory tower. Come down every once in a while and bitch about something, but stay up there as much as possible. And play in the shadows. In the shadows. But don't. No. The thing is that face recognition shit is hilarious to me. The shit that he's so.
Hey, man, it's he's looking forward to the AI.
You're out. When he tells you you're out, you're out.
Oh yeah. You don't want to get on Jimmy. You don't want to get on Jimmy's bad side if you like the garden. Okay, I mean, let's just be real.
Don't test Jimmy.
No, don't test Jimmy, man. Jimmy will block you out, and he will enforce it.
Well, I've told you that personal story I have of somebody who got kicked out and tried to go back the next day amongst some Grateful Dead concert, and they they were immediately shown the door again. That
You
shit is
know,
real. That's hilarious. Have you been paying
you see
attention to
some cats
the
walking up behind you, going, "Yeah, we're good. We got him right in our sights."
Yeah, man.
Uh,
Don't test Jimmy. Don't test
nope,
Jimmy.
nope.
Charles Oakley, ask him, he'll tell you.
Right?
But Summer League. You been paying attention to Summer League? Have
I have.
you been
I've
seeing
been
what my
watching some of
guy
the games.
Kolick? You were telling me before you've been hearing about some Kolick nickname. What are they calling him out here in the streets?
TKO.
TKO.
I
Listen,
like it.
man, he looks good. He looks good. He
Does.
looks like he's a ready-made NBA guy.
Does.
The only thing that I might be a little bit nervous about him is his ability to guard some of the especially more athletic guards. And
Mhm. I
especially,
did notice some people go right around him.
as the people go right around him, and my theory that our less melanated brothers, other people when they see him on the court, they just automatically go at him. It's not just that they're not as good defenders; it's the fact that they walk out onto the floor as targets. But
Well, yeah, but he's got to prove it, and he's going to prove it one way or the other. That hey, you're wrong about me, or you're right about
right, right. And he doesn't like being compared to your guy TJ
me. TJ
McConnell. He
McConnell.
said that he doesn't like being compared to him. He thinks it's lazy. But one thing McConnell does is he makes up for his lack of explosiveness and athleticism by having guile and being like very, very, crafty on defense. It sounds like these all just sound like tropes for like things a white player needs to be able to make it in the NBA.
Right.
And I hate to say it because that's not what I'm trying, how I'm trying to look at it. But, he's not he's not as an athlete like Deuce is, let's say. You know what I mean?
No,
So he's going to have to, sometimes not be able to keep his feet in front of that guy, maybe poke a ball away here and there.
I mean, but hey, let's look at it. Quickly wasn't the athlete Deuce is.
No, no,
Right?
no, no.
Quickly
No,
was a decent athlete.
Deuce is an extreme. He's a
He's
very
an
good athlete.
yeah, right. He's an extreme
Is
athlete.
is
But
who's a better athlete? Quickly or Kolek?
I mean, look, man, you're not seeing Quickly do a lot of breakaway dunks
I think it's same
or
level.
any high flying. I think they're almost same level.
I
You
agree. I
know,
agree. I think
they're almost same.
I think they're about
Okay,
the
so
same.
who has, if you use them two, Rokas, Jokovitis?
Well, who's the best athlete between the three of
Yeah,
those
yeah,
people?
yeah, yeah.
Rokas.
I think Rokas got some bounce to him. Now,
Jokic got a little bit of
he's
bounce
a,
to him. Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
a turnover machine. That's a
He's
bit
a,
of a problem.
but whenever them Eurocats come over here at first, they always start off as turnover machines, and then they usually can calm that down. But Dad, is there any way? I mean, and listen again,
There's no room for him. There's no room.
in his most recent game, he has what 16 points, 7 of 7 from the field.
Yeah.
He looked good. So he's getting out in
We
front,
got
getting
too
steals,
many
going
guys
down
now,
for dunks. I know, man. It's like, with him, and then
and we
well,
need another big.
we'll get
Oh,
to our latest free agent signing after we talk about summer league. Let's stay focused on that. But is there any way that you think that you see a way where you see Jokovitis being on the 15-man roster?
I don't, Nick, and that
Man, I
kind of
like
sucks
him,
because I
man. I
like
don't
him.
want to
But
see this
even
guy
if he
go
was
somewhere
on the
else.
roster, Nick, we would never see him. Just
That's
realize
fine.
somebody's going to get the shake here. You know what I mean?
The
Get
shit,
the
right,
shake.
right. Someone's
You're
been
going to get
this year's
shake
Shake
minutes.
Milton. Yeah.
Right. So who's going to be that guy? And I'd hate to see Rokas sit and be that guy, but I also don't want us to just give him up because sooner or later we're going to have to give up rights to the guy. And I think he could be on an NBA roster.
Oh, no
You
doubt.
know,
I
I think he could be
absolutely
on
think.
an NBA roster, and I don't want to see him blow up with somebody else. But what are you going to do? At some point, listen, we'll speak about the other guy soon enough, but I'd rather take a flyer on Jokovitis, is my thought. But that's just me.
Me too. Me too.
I think we're selling him a little short, though, honestly.
Listen, I think that Jokovitis looks like one of those guys that he still probably needs to come over here, spend a year where he's playing in the G League, where he's playing, at the physicality and the athletic level that that the league over here has. He can, kind of like he needs to like come over here and start on like a Deuce path, where where that's where
and I
as
think he
far
can
as
develop. He's got
absolutely
that little lefty jumper, Nick. I'll tell you, I was impressed.
pull up mid range, like on the
Yes.
break. He'll put he's got the shots. He kind of reminds me of like a Goran Dragic type.
Yes, I see that. But now listen, this other thing with Kolek that I wanted to bring up to you. Oh, I've seen this dude quite a few times. Okay, there's so many lefties. Okay, no more lefties. No,
both
more
of those
lefties.
guys are lefties.
I know everybody's a lefty, but I've seen him a couple times go
Well,
high off the glass, Nick.
yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah,
don't think it's going to go in. And that shit drops consistently.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
told you about that one-handed pass shit. He does that extremely well, and
Yo,
that's a
Kolek is the
skill.
real deal.
Yeah, he
Kolek
is.
is. I honestly think that
Might be
he
a
can
steal in the
right.
draft. Wait a minute. Oh, hold up. What's up with Paco?
Paco.
Dude needs
Just
some beet juice or something, man. He needs to get
yo,
stronger, man.
yo, yo. He did hit 2 threes in the game against the Nets, and then
Nick,
the game against the Kings today. He just absolute disappearing act. He was a -11 plus minus when his team won by 1 point. He had a total of 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting and just pretty much looked invisible the entire day. He needs a little seasoning, you know. We did
some paprika.
they gotta put a little bit of jelly on the croissant.
Right.
But
Um,
he's just man, like I don't know. The
Nick.
2 air balls really made me be like,
Nick. And then last game, he shot an air ball. I'm sitting there saying, well, we got to
mad
have a guy
short
like this
too.
underneath. Right. And he's doing an Obi.
Right,
Right, a
right.
UFOB. I
The
mean, it's like, what
UFO.
the hell, man? Come on. I mean, this guy has so many airball threes. And again, it's that Monty Burns kind of shot where it's like, I mean, it's like, come on, man. This guy's got no strut. I'm
Yeah,
very, very, I
but
don't want to say very disappointed. It's very early, but I don't, listen, you want him on just from what we've seen, you want him on the 15 man over Jokic?
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
He's more ready. And we're so deep at the wing. What it's really going to come down to is okay. So when you look at the entire roster, we're at a point now where the Knicks saw what happened last season, and they're like, "Listen, if we get injured,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a game plan. We're gonna have we're gonna be able to switch up to something, try something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think so. I think that they're doing their best to build out the depth, and that's going to include some of these young guys. And as we know, Dad, we get hype on cats in summer league every single year, and we're
Yeah.
like, "Yo, this guy, he's gonna
Kevin Knox.
contribute. He's gonna do this. He's gonna do that." And then sometimes we never see that guy again. I mean,
No.
this is the third time we've done this with Jokic, and he's just one guy. This is
No,
the
this
third
is the
time that we
second time he's played.
in summer
Second
league.
time he's played in summer league. Yeah. He played 1 year, and
Okay.
then he's been back in Spain or Lithuania since then.
Yeah, okay. All right. So the second time, but I'm saying it's like, we were so hyped on him then, and then we didn't, and then he was just, he was gone for the next couple of years. We never saw him again. So who knows how this is gonna play out? Who knows? But we'll see. It's good to have a little bit of Knicks basketball to watch this time of year. And I really do think this kid Kolek is the real deal. I think that he is going to be able to contribute immediately. I think that he right now is an above average creator in the NBA. Like there's not a ton of guys out here who are just pass first guys like him and have the ability to at any angle and have the vision to be able to deliver a good pass and just have that mindset that he's always looking to get guys involved. And then, today he comes out, he has 21 points and shows that he could put the ball in the bucket as well. Was very aggressive from the beginning. Definitely, the commentators were saying that clearly somebody talked to him about being more aggressive. By the way, commentators, I gotta throw this out there.
What's his name?
Sam
Again?
Mitchell,
He is so annoying.
he's so bad, Dan. Oh my God. I don't
My,
like him. I don't like him when he's in the booth in one of those stupid Steve Harvey suits. I don't like him when I really, really don't like it. Got him, doing it,
working the sideline.
working the side,
working the
being
game.
a color commentator for the games, and they got him out there all day. Somebody give him a blow, man. Like, come on, man, get him out. He's. I really, really, really can't stand him. He's one of my least favorites of any person who can call a game ever. And I mean, he clearly he's an NBA vet. He coached. He did all those things. I think they said earlier he played 13 years in the league. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. No. Sam Mitchell was a decent player. He was a decent player, but I don't like him on the broadcast. And in fact, it was funny because your mom said to me last night, she's like, "Who is that?" And yeah, it's Sam something. I said I can't remember the last name, but it's Sam something. And
he's always got a pinstripe suit on or some shit.
Yeah. For some reason, she thought it was. Is that Draymond? I don't know why she thought it was Draymond.
Nah.
But yeah, he's annoying.
He's annoying.
We won't have to listen to him anymore. I mean, that's it now, right? The game today, that's it. No more
No, they
games.
got a game on Friday, and it doesn't
Oh,
look
okay.
like they'll make it into the. Actually, no, I think that everybody makes it into the. I think they have at least 2 more
Postseason.
games. So whatever that
Oh,
postseason tournament is, whatever. Yeah, but
okay.
yeah, a thriller today. Kolek, down the stretch, like I said, he had 21 points, and then down the stretch, we had lost the lead after leading for most of the game. He hits a runner for them to go up 1. The Kings come down. They hit a 3. Knicks are down by 2. Kolek drives, goes all the way to the rim, gets the bucket and 1 with 2 seconds left, sinks the free throw. They miss a heave. Knicks win 106-105.
I love
So,
him going to the hole. To the hole, he's very good.
and I love the fact that in that scenario he went to the
Right,
hole.
right. He's
You
done
know,
that in
how
a couple
annoyed do we
games
get?
though. In the last game, we were down and we were trying to come back. But first of all, we were trying to come back, and they had a few possessions down the stretch in like the last 3 minutes where he's not handling the ball. Some other guy, I guess this guy Dwayne Washington was. And although
What's
this guy
with the
Dwayne
Dwayne
Washington
Washington?
scored enough,
Dwayne Washington, I don't understand why this guy's getting so much run and he's getting like the keys to the offense. And it's like, dude, we're not going to
who
shout to
cares
my guy,
about this
Frank
guy?
Barrett, because I saw a tweet from him earlier. Like, I don't understand what this experience is. None of this is duplicatable. He's not going to be able to duplicate any of this on an NBA floor. This guy, Dwayne Washington, you can just see that he'll never be able to do any of those things playing against like real NBA talent.
And
And
was he on the
he's like,
team this past year?
he was like one of those guys who's up and down, like,
Oh,
where
okay.
yeah,
And this
like
is his
some,
third year in summer league or something like that.
I get at least
The guys who played in the NBA and played in the G League, they're definitely much better than these guys, man. You see them dominating.
Oh, of course.
You know.
We had
Well,
to go
that's why
against
I
this
was a
guy
little
Ellis
annoyed.
today.
I was a little annoyed with Baby Top. I mean, at first game, but he played pretty good the last game. I didn't see him.
Baby Tops played pretty well. I saw him like do some shit where he went off one leg and put the ball off the glass. And I was like, okay, he's developing a little bit. Baby Top did all right. He didn't play today's game. I don't think that he was he got a DMP. I don't think anything's wrong with him. I think that they're just like, they know what he is and they wanted to see other guys. Speaking of other guys, when it comes to the center position, Hawk Party, another solid game. 11 points, 10 rebounds.
Nice.
Dad, in the prior game against the Nets, there was parts where I looked at him and he looked a little slow on defense, and I was like, I don't know if this guy's ready to like contribute on an NBA floor. And then the game today against the Kings, there's multiple times where I'm looking at it, and I'm like, this guy might be able to contribute right now. So, I don't know. We got to get him with Tibbs, get him with the center whisperer, and see what he can do. But the other center prospect, this guy Skopinstev, I think it's Skopinstev. It's Dimitro.
Right. Demo.
It's Dymtro. So that's Demo.
That's what I'll say. It's easier. Just call him Demo.
Okay, because Skopinstev is, I'm gonna mess that up every 3 times I say it. But yeah, he had 11 and 5 in only 17 minutes. In the last game, he had 19 points and 10 rebounds.
Mind you, now
can
let's
shoot
remember,
a 3.
Shoot a 3. But last game against the Nets, their tallest guy was 6'8".
Yeah, so that is a little bit of perspective. His perspective was, at least 5 inches, over everybody else. But he's I think that he's an interesting prospect, man. I mean, he got to the point where he got into a couple games last year, but I didn't really do anything of significance. Just got a little bit of garbage time, and but if he can hit that 3, he looks like he's got a little bit of instincts. I just don't know if he's going to be able to make an impact, like really make an impact on the glass and and as a defensive presence down low when you get to real NBA games.
Are Hawk Pori and Demo right now better than Mozgov ever was?
No.
Okay, but you realize Mozgov's not in the league, and you realize a lot of people were crying. I think you were one of the people kind of upset when we traded Mozgov.
Oh, listen, I thought the entire trade for Melo was, I just thought that we had him by the balls and then therefore it was an overpay. And at that point, we didn't have a roster where we could do that. Mozgov then got another big contract from the Lakers after that, if you remember correctly. Mozgov ended up, injuries derailed his career, but Mozgov had some skills. That's for sure.
Nick. Okay.
Mozgov, you're saying that I mean, I don't know. You're talking about
he's not.
Guys who've
those
never
rookies are
played
not
NBA.
better than him. No, I'm not saying that, but I don't think Mozgov was very good. I didn't care about giving him up back then. if you remember,
Timofey. As
Timofey, right?
anybody with the
Timmy
brain said back then, you don't not get Melo because you really want to keep Timofey Mozgov. Okay, everybody,
Like, who cares?
everybody acknowledged that back then. Yeah, I mean, Mozgov did have a year where he averaged 10.6 points
Yeah, he
and
sucks.
6.9 rebounds.
He's 7
That's
1.
pretty solid.
You have to
He
almost,
averaged
if you're 7 1
6.8 points
and you
for
can
his
chew gum and
career.
walk, you're going to get 10 points a game in the NBA. Just off
For his career,
offensive
he
rebound.
averaged 6.8 points
You
and
know,
4.9 rebounds per game.
this is what I'm saying. You're 7 1 and you're having as many rebounds as almost like Jalen Brunson. And you're a
Yeah,
foot taller.
yeah. Mozgov didn't end up turning out. He played in the league for longer than I expected. He got in 2010, and he went all the way till 2018. Mozgov, bringing him up. No, they're not as good. They're not as good as he was quite yet. But hopefully they'll both be better than him. Again, I
sure
don't
hope
want Kessler. I don't want any of these, guys that we're going to have to give up a bunch for. A lot of people are saying now that the Knicks have went ahead and signed Payne, aka Terry Johnson. That's the name that he gave
I
Scottsdale
heard
Police.
that story.
If you want to arrest me for giving you a false name, then go ahead. Be my guest, Terry Johnson.
And Hart said, "Welcome, Terry."
Yeah, welcome. Yeah, Hart's he's a fool. He's a fool.
Campaign, Mr. Dancing guy before the game.
Him and Macau, are the ones that have the dance routines that have been, a real. I'm hoping that Tibbs, tells them to cut that shit out, like that. We don't
knock it off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we don't do that shit over here. He's gonna if you're about to do a dance, Tibbs is gonna come up and ask you like a question about a defensive assignment, and if you don't have the right answer, then that dancing shit has to stop immediately.
Right.
Okay.
100%.
And I'm hoping like that's something where Leon just like looks at a one of the security people, and the security person just walks past and suddenly whispers to them, "Leon said stop dancing," and just keeps walking.
Or Dolan.
Yeah, I don't know. That Dolan might be into
it. The red phone, the hotline.
Now Dolan might be into it. Dolan might be trying. He's always trying to hang out and with these younger people, be a little bit of a lounge lizard himself. So I could see him maybe wanting to be cool and like learn some of these dances. But no, Payne. Look, there's not a player that I dislike his overall act and the way that he looks and his form and everything else. I mean, we've talked about this multiple times before on the pod. My disdain for Payne, but he's a Knick now, and at the end of the day, once you put on that jersey, it's time to embrace him. Time to bring it in. So Cam, we're not going to talk anymore about how you look like a dodo bird. We're not going to talk about how you shoot the ball from your opposite shoulder. And how your dancing routines are absolutely ridiculous. I will dance with you if you hit them with a Knicks jersey on. And it's going to be interesting to see him as a Knick and how his reception is from the Garden. He better listen. When things are going great, it's going to be great. Okay, this is like anything else. But if the Garden, I think many Knicks fans feel like myself and don't necessarily like that sort of act. And so you better back it up with some good play.
Him about that act, Nick, or him dancing around. That's going to happen pre-game, so no one's going to boo that.
But if he has a game where if he has a game where he sucks, if he has a game where he's 0 of 7 from 3, 0 of 7 from 3, there's going to be people. There's going to be some guy with fucking eating a Frank, eating a hot dog, screaming at him, "Stop all that fucking dancing and make a shot." You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, some cat will yell that shit to you out on the streets.
But honestly, when you look, I listen after I got over the initial anger about him being picked up by the Knicks. You calm down. You look at this guy's stats, pretty good. Okay. I mean, the guy shoots over 40%, shoots well from 3, not a lot of turnovers. And he did come into the game last year against us in the playoffs and cook a little bit.
Oh, yeah, he did.
There's no doubt about that.
Much to my chagrin.
Right. So let's look at it. I mean, look, this guy's a guy on the bench now where he's taking basically right now, Nick, he's taking Alex Burke's spot. You know, when you look at it that way, is that big a deal? We were lucky to have Alec Burks when the time came last year in the playoffs, and where he was a bum early on, and we didn't use him too much. But then when the time came, we needed him. Let's hope Campaign can do the same. And let's face it, Campaign. Do you think he's better? If you have to say right now, is Campaign better than Alec Burks? Oh yes,
He
he
was
is.
last season.
I mean, he just is a better player right now. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Listen, like you said, shoots close to 40% from three. And I think that with what's happened to us this past year when it comes to the injuries, the Knicks are trying to say, hey, we might need the 13th guy to play in a big spot.
That's
And we
right.
need to make sure that that's somebody who is a veteran. He's not somebody who's going to be scared of a moment. He is actually rated to be, he's considered to be pretty strong defender. He can run a pick and roll. And I hope that he doesn't have to get many minutes because this guy, Kolek outshines him and Deuce is doing his thing. And, so we don't have to, break the glass in case of Payne, but, we're able to just, be lucky on the injury front. But if we're not, we have to have a plan. And that's obviously what we're doing. It's a vet minimum deal. Can't get too mad at it. Welcome Terry. Hope you don't have to play too much, but I just really hope him and Mikhail don't do the pregame dance shit. I honestly think that Brunson even would be the type of guy that would just would say to Mikhail, like where Mikhail thinks he's joking at first, but he's not, where he's just like, yeah, I mean, yeah, but seriously, we don't do that whole full dance
Right.
routine shit before the
Right.
game thing over here. That's just not how we get down over here.
Get your mind right. Shape up. Come on. Stop that.
Yeah,
Stop
and
acting.
then I could see them doing a dance, and if the dance thing happens, now what? Mitch might want to get involved. Mitch, you might hurt yourself trying to do some dance shit like that or
Right.
whatever.
Mitch
You know
can
what
do
I
no
mean?
dancing. Mitch
No
needs to
dancing
keep
for
all 10
Mitch.
toes on the floor unless he's trying to get an offensive rebound.
Exactly.
You know?
52 and a half wins. That's what Vegas has us at right now. Highest number since 97, 98. You think the Knicks got 53 in us, or you think we fall a little bit short?
If I was going to bet it, I would bet the over. I think they can win 53. But Nick, like I tell you all the time, it's such a hard thing to gauge because things change so drastically, injuries, all this, the other thing. But if I had to gauge it right now, I would bet the over on the Knicks right there to win more than 52 and a half games. Definitely.
Before the number came out, I said 55 to 60, depending obviously on injuries and whatnot. I think last year we got to 50 and we had, very unlucky injury history, as well as we didn't get OG until late. To me, you would hope that the team would improve. And if the team improves just a little bit, we can, kill that number. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. It's so weird, man. Almost like I saw another thing, power rankings, where the Knicks were fourth overall going into next season, behind only the Celtics, the Thunder, and the Timberwolves. And then they had the
Mm.
Knicks fourth and second in the Eastern Conference. I haven't seen anybody that has us ranked anything lower than third in the Eastern Conference. I've seen a couple people put Philly ahead of us, but I just think that it's a lot of expectations. We have an offseason where it seems like everything is breaking our way. It'll be interesting to see what happens tomorrow, July 18th, when Julius Randle is eligible to be able to do a similar thing to what Brunson just did and take the pay cut now as opposed to wait till next year when he would most likely be able to earn a max contract and $100 million more dollars. It'll be interesting to see where Julius's head is at, as well as where the Knicks' head is at when it comes to that. And I think from the Knicks' point of view, it seems like to me, if Julius is willing, it would make even more sense to you do it no matter how you feel, because if you do end up wanting to trade him or anything like that, he becomes an even more tradable asset because he's on such a team-friendly deal.
Mm-hmm. I probably would want to maintain my flexibility if I'm the Knicks right now and not sign Julius to the extension right now. But he might feel some kind of way over that. But then again, he might not. I mean, clearly they have a good relationship with the front office, the players on the team. So I think that that can all be figured out and so forth. And we're going to see where it goes from here. I don't know what they do as far as backup center, Nick. I don't know if you go on with these young guys and just see what happens early in the season
Well, many
or
people are
anything like
saying
that.
now, Dad, that your guy Deuce
Will be
could be on the
probably a
outs
trade.
because that campaign signing
Mhm.
signaled that Deuce might be involved in a trade for a backup center.
I hope not. I
Me
hope
too.
not. But because I really like Deuce and I like the way he develops. But I do realize sometimes you got to give up something to get something. And listen, man, at a certain point, you got to trust greater minds than your own. Clearly, Leon and Worldwide West and all these guys, they know what they're doing up there, man. They're playing 3D chess, and we're down here, playing checkers. So I trust in what they're going to do or what they do. So, I hope we can keep Deuce, but I've heard they want to try and maybe go after this guy, Jalen Duran, out of Detroit. And everybody seems to love him if we could get him, but you're going to have to give
Yeah,
him
but
something.
that is something where Deuce is definitely gone in that, and it would probably cost multiple firsts as well. I mean, both him and Sengun, it's like I would
Right.
love those guys, but are you willing to pay the price, especially with all the picks that we just gave up for Bridges? So, yeah, I don't really see us making that big of a splashy move. And
Mm,
if we went into the season right now and we had
that's
one
it.
of Hawk Party and Demo,
Demo
if we had one of those two plus Mitchell and Jericho, as
and
well as
Precious.
Precious in a pinch, and if we had that going into the season right now, and then we have the ability to at some point in December or closer to the deadline be able to make a move and bring in some center help, because that seems like it's something that is always available around the deadline, is some team that is decent, that
Hmm.
has some size, and contending teams need. I'd be okay with that. And I think that we're going to see some Julius at the 5 this year. And I think that I don't want to see us just make. I don't want to see us do anything rash right now. I don't want to see us give up Deuce and some picks for freaking this guy Kessler. I no, that's not. That's not. I don't think that's the move. And from everything we've seen of Leon, he's very measured. He's very patient. And who knows what the fuck he's really got cooking. But whatever it is, gotta trust it.
Yeah, I think we stand pat. And like you said, I just trust Leon. We're going to do the right thing.
If you're feeling the content, or you think we're two loathsome, offensive brutes, and yet you can't look away, give us a thumbs up or a 5-star rating. Make sure you subscribe and or hit that notification button on YouTube or wherever you're listening. We appreciate all the love. The Jets been in the news a little bit. Arthur Smith, that we talked to him. I don't know, it's a non-story to me, really. It is what it is. We move forward. I thought it was cool. Did you see the video of that guy who was crying and emotional with Aaron Rodgers when he was out in Tahoe at that
That
golf tournament?
guy, that guy must be so embarrassed. I mean,
You think so?
dude, you
I
don't.
don't think he's embarrassed.
Holy smokes!
Well,
You're
you
a
would be
grown
embarrassed
man.
because you would be
You're a
you're embarrassed
grown man,
because
and you're whimpering and crying about this other grown man.
that it's
If
2024, man. It's time to get in
if
touch with your
if
feelings.
if,
Men
if
can show their
my
feelings. That's okay.
if if my son did that at age 15, I'd be like, "What is wrong with you? What are you doing?
I I
I mean, what are you
I
acting like
can
that for?
I can attest that that is exactly what you would do. Someone who has been your child at age 15 before.
What are you doing that for? Why? Oh, Aaron, what was all that, man?
He's emotional, man. He wants to see a
Even a
Super Bowl
girl,
before he
even if it
died.
was a woman, let's give me a Super Bowl before I die.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Even,
Tread lightly with all this just gender talk here. Even if it was a
no, but
woman, what?
even if it's a young woman doing this, I mean, I get it. Some people get excited when they see stars and whatnot. I know. My sisters chased the Jackson Five's limousine for 5 blocks down Seventh Avenue when they were kids, and my dad had to chase them. Okay, so I get it. They get carried away, but come on, man. This dude was a grown man, and you're doing that. I would do whatever I needed to do about this guy to destroy that tape.
Oh, there's no. Listen, that's not
He
how the
clearly
internet
put
works.
it out on social media.
No, well,
You don't think it's
somebody put it out, but I don't know if it was necessarily him that put it out. But at the end of the day, I don't
embarrassing?
know if you know this, Dad, but there's no more tapes. Like once it's
Right.
there's no tape to destroy. Once it's out there,
There's
it's
no.
out there.
He's done that. No, I
It's
would
up
have.
there in the cloud.
I right in the cloud. I would have tried to destroy it before it got there. Is my point. It's like that was somebody like my wife or somebody filming that. I would
I
have
don't
said
think it's as
erase it
embarrassing as you're
immediately.
saying. It's not my style, but that's obviously because I was raised by a loathsome, offensive brute. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I don't think it was that embarrassing. I actually thought it was kind of funny and kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just yeah, I thought it was kind of cool just because he's just a long suffering Jet fan, and he's just like, Aaron, please,
You
man,
need to be
before I
driven
die.
to the woods and left in the woods for like a week on your own. I think that's cool.
Garrett Wilson. I saw that he was ranked 19th best wide receiver in
What
football.
is that? That's
You
terrible.
know what that is? As we know, if you don't have a great quarterback and you don't have a good offensive line, it's very hard to be a good wide receiver in this league.
Yeah.
And the fact
Yeah.
that he's been able to get 1,000 yards these last 2 seasons with
Right.
the complementary cast that he's had when it comes to those two, those position, that one position group and that other position is amazing in itself. Give me a healthy Aaron Rodgers, and he'll instantly be top 5 on that list.
Listen, he's climbing that list with a bullet. I'm not worried about it. He'll by the end of the season, we'll see a different ranking for him for sure.
July 24th, training camp opens up. Next week, we will be coming with a full training camp preview, including win totals, X factors, and how we're feeling about the Jets. As we round out season 1, if he did this to me, we started last year at the beginning of the Jets season, so season 2 will be starting soon, approaching the 50th episode. Lots of love, lots of new things happening. Very, very appreciative to everybody. Watch out for that he did this to me merch coming very, very soon. And Mets. Obviously, we have the All-Star break. I could care. I had the All-Star game on in the second screen, but I really could care absolutely less about the All-Star game.
Who
It's
cares? Who cares?
it's
The
watch
only thing interesting was Skeen's
right.
first
Watching
inning.
him was pretty cool. And then it was
Right.
like, okay, I've had enough. It just, it was on in the second screen, like I said, and I was paying somewhat attention to it, but I, just wasn't that into it. And obviously, Pete did not have a very good showing in the Derby, but Pete did come out and say very emphatically that he does want to stay with New York, that the Mets feel like home, and that he's excited about what we can do in the second half of the season. He's always been that guy. He's always been the guy when asked that he
Right.
says those types of things. And, as I've always maintained, that I think that the Mets should and will end up, getting it done, keeping him, and hopefully he's paying a little attention to Brunson over there and seeing, the reception that he's getting, and he's thinking to himself, all right, I don't need a 10-year deal. Give me a 5-year deal at a big number, and let's go.
Yeah, no, I think he should be looking for, the longevity thing. No one wants to give you a 10-year deal. Okay. 5, 6 years, maybe 7. I don't know. Listen, man, he's also got to realize he doesn't warrant top of the market money. Not when he's batting less than 250. I'm
Yeah, but that
sorry.
he could have a huge second half, and that changes
That's right.
everything.
That's right. But I still think he's going to end up batting 250. Nick is my point. His
Yeah, but
average.
250 or not, it doesn't matter if he gets the
If he gets 40 home runs,
if
I
he gets
think
the yeah, I mean he's like the baseball All-Star game is unlike the other sports is more close to being like at the actual halfway point. And I mean right now he's sitting at 19 home runs and he's
right.
got 51 ribbies. So if he ends up getting hot and gets that batting average from 240 up to 255 and he ends up with 42 home runs and he gets 110 RBI, he's going to get whatever he wants. And that's
I get
very
that, Nick.
possible.
I
And
get that,
he's
Nick.
done that. He's done that over years now at this point.
I know that. But, I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. I love the guy. I want us to keep him at all costs. But okay, let's be honest here. A couple of years ago, we were comparing him at the plate to Judge. Come on. He doesn't compare to Judge right
No,
now, Nick,
that's listen.
in the
He's
last
not.
year and a
Judge
half.
is having a huge season right now.
Right.
But if you look at them over the span of the last 4 or 5 years, Pete
I get that,
is
Nick.
equal
I
to
get that,
him.
Nick. I'm
And in
talking about
baseball,
the
we know
last
how it
2 years.
goes.
I'm talking about the last 2 years. He's not as good at the plate as Judge. Not in average and not in power. He's not. He's just not. I don't think
I think
so.
that Judge could easily have a down year next year, and Pete has a huge year, and then that all changes. I just think that baseball is like
Okay.
that. I think that when it comes to those two, it's already seesawed a few times
Okay. Let's
since they've been up.
archive this little snippet here and talk about it in
Okay,
another year when we see
Pete's,
Judge
Pete's
come back. Them come
overall,
back
but
around.
since they've both been in the league, Pete has overall better
All of that
numbers.
said, you keep saying that. I get it because Pete was Boffo early on. And I think Pete is going to continue to do well. I think he's going to continue to hit 40 home runs a year. I just think this guy Judge is going to regularly hit over 50 home runs a year and bat 300 or close to it. I mean, it's just the way it is, and that's fine. I get it. I love Pete. I want him to stay. I think he needs to be realistic. I think, like you said, hopefully he looks at it in a Brunson kind of way. But I do love Pete. I don't see how you could let 40 home runs and over 100, 110 RBI a year walk out the door, especially when he's your guy, he's homegrown, all of that. You would really, really bum out. Like me, as a lifelong Met fan, I can remember one other time. If the Mets let him go, the one other time I felt like this that I was really, really, really bummed out was as a kid when they let Seaver go. It just really, of course I was a kid and I didn't understand free agency and all this other bullshit. But I was just like, that just fucked me up for a minute, and I
Yeah.
kept being a Met fan because I'm a Met fan. But dude, man, you can't let Alonso go.
No, you can't let him go. Okay, so just for a little bit of context, Aaron Judge has hit right now he's hitting 306. So whether or not he hits over 300 this year, we'll see. Obviously, a lot of season to play. Other than that, he's hit over 300 one time in his career. He has
The years that he
over
didn't hit 300, what's he hit?
267, 287, 257, 272,
Wow,
278.
the
Um,
257 and 267 surprised me.
And he also has hit over 40 home runs twice so far in his career for a season. This season he's at 34. Presumably he will get to that number this year. Pete
The,
Alonso, on the other
the years
hand,
that he didn't hit over 40 home runs, how many games did he play, Nick?
yeah, he got hurt.
Was he hurt?
Availability
Oh,
is a big
oh,
part
okay,
of it. Yeah,
okay,
he had in 2020 he only played 28 games.
right.
Last year he played 106, 102 one
That may play
year.
a part, no doubt. He may play a
Yeah, I
part.
mean, I think that, yeah, obviously that's always a part. And I'm not sitting here saying that I think that Pete Alonso is equal to the player that Aaron Judge is. Like right now, if you had to rank the best players in the MLB, obviously Aaron Judge is going to be in the top 2 to 5, and Pete Alonso is not in the top 10 to 15 right this
That's
moment.
all. That's all.
But
That's
but but
all I'm saying.
yeah, I just think that it's not that far off. I mean, if we just go back just to like last season,
How much money a year does Aaron Judge make about now? Approximately 50, 40.
it's in the I want to say it's in the 40s.
So will Pete Alonso accept 5 years, 175, where he's making like 35 million a year on average?
35. He should listen. Judge is averaging around 40 per year. He has a 9 year,
He gets off at
36,
35 a
9
year.
year,
He's got to do.
360. But he
Now,
got
mind you, now
9 years,
that's a couple years ago.
right. It's a couple years ago. But he also has the more injury history than Pete, though. So he got 9 years, 360. So
Yeah,
that's an average of 40, right? And so if I'm Pete and they come at me at 7 at an average of 35, gotta take that deal.
got to take that deal.
But Boris is going to want to get 10. And if somebody out there wants to give him, 9, 10, which there's going to be a lot of teams that are a team like the Astros, that they're just going to be like, listen, in that little ass tiny park, this big
Right.
fucker is going to hit 45 home runs for the next however many years. We'll stick him right there in the cleanup spot in front of Altuve and all these other guys, So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But the Mets moving forward, we have 67 games left. So 67 games left.
37 and 30.
You got 37 and 30. I had us at 38 and 29.
Okay. Nick, I think if we have either of those records, we're in the wild card. And we're in the postseason.
That
We
gets you
make
to
it to the
almost 10
postseason.
games
We're good.
over. Yeah,
Yeah.
that gets you to almost over 10 games over. That gets you to 87 wins. And yeah, that's the about the best case scenario for us. And I think it's very doable, especially with the way that we've been playing recently.
With
What
Senga
do you
coming back.
Yeah, yep. Very, very important. He's going to be coming back. And we talked about before how it'll be interesting to see how that plays out with the 6-man rotation, which everybody says that is exactly
How
what the
soon
Mets
should
are
he
going
be
to do.
back? How
Senga,
soon? Yeah.
I think he shouldn't have more than one. If one more rehab start,
Yeah.
2 tops. He's had 3 rehab starts at this point, so
Okay.
you got to stretch him out a little bit more. And then, obviously pray that everything continues to go well, and then he should be back. And what would you say are the biggest needs that Stearns needs to address before the
I mean,
deadline that
listen,
comes up
everyone knows
here
that.
at the 30th, July 30th?
Everyone knows that. It's the bullpen. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, come on, man. We need some bullpen help and some reliable bullpen pen help. I mean, is this guy Maton or Maton? I don't know how you say his name. Is he
Mayton.
reliable? Maton? I don't know if he's
But
reliable.
so last year he's been excellent in the playoffs over his career. A lot of that with the
Okay.
Astros. Last year he was really good in the playoffs. And no, he was good in the playoffs last year. I think I want to say for Tampa Bay. And then this season he started off a little bit rough, but then like his last like 12 outings before he came over, he was amazing. And so far, since he's been a Met in his 2 appearances, he's looked pretty good. He's a junker baller. He throws a nasty curve that just falls off the table. He doesn't throw like he doesn't have a ton of velocity, and really switches it up for guys that especially if they've been seeing somebody with a heater the entire game. And people that know more than me about baseball say that he's a good pickup, and it was really for a good price. Obviously, this guy Torrens we got for next to nothing. So I trust that Stearns is going to get it done. I just hope that in these next couple of weeks we continue to stack wins and win series, and therefore we continue to give the Mets brass from top to bottom a reason to go for it. And
Yeah.
they've done that here recently. They had a great stretch going back to the middle of June, and coming out, we can't afford to come out sluggish in the slightest way. And I think that Mendoza, with the energy that he brings, and guys like Lindor, guys like Iglesias, I think will come out ready to go, and it'll be fun to see what happens in the second half.
It should be a very interesting second half, a lot to root for. And the team is, I mean, the team is primed and ready. Like you said, we got Senga coming back. We got Marte coming back. We have some real talent coming back. And, I just hope guys got their due amount of rest. Like you said, I personally don't think Pete needs to do the home run derby anymore. He hasn't made a good showing the last couple of years. Frankly, his showing the other night was terrible. It was terrible, Nick.
Come on. So
But
what?
okay, or change the pitcher. What's with this guy? Who's this guy that he keeps trotting out there? I don't know. I see other guys who seem to be getting better pitches to hit than him
I do agree that he needs to
consistently.
change his pitcher. He needs to change his
Consistently.
pitcher.
But okay, stop with the home run derby. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, but this
Stop.
is just like something that you have. You're just so
No. Look at
you
guys
don't
like
want any
Judge. Judge ain't
you
doing
don't
it no more.
you don't want what do you
Otani.
mean? He took this year off. It doesn't mean he's just never doing it again. And
You got tired of
Pete's
it.
like
Come
doing it.
on.
Pete's won 2 of them. Pete at
You're an old
the
vet
first time he
now.
won it, the first time that he won it, he made more money in the Derby than he was making for a salary that
I get
entire
it.
year. And I don't know. I think Pete likes to do it. I think Pete is
He's
like just like
embarrassing
a
himself.
big kid who likes. He's not embarrassing himself at all. He's already won 2 of them. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
well, no, this year
You
he
don't
embarrassed.
want any of your players doing any extracurricular activities ever. You don't want guys being in the dunk
Nah.
contest. You don't want guys being on
No,
the
I wouldn't care
Olympics.
about guys being in a
You don't
jump
want guys on
contest.
the Olympic team. You don't want guys
I
doing
wouldn't
that. You
care
want
about players on the Olympic team if they weren't, if they didn't just go through a year that was grueling. I wouldn't have wanted Jalen Brunson to play this year, but
who doesn't
he's
go
hurt,
on
so who cares,
which one of those what players that are on the team or didn't go through a
dude?
grueling year?
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Look at your man Joel Embiid right now. What
Yeah.
I'm hearing, he sucks out there. He's
Oh,
not
he
playing
sucks.
well.
He sucks.
I mean, listen to me. There's zero reason he needs to be playing just because he's so. I mean, he's been through so much injuries. Why in the world is he playing? And now I'm jumping to another subject here, but now we're seeing the same thing with Kawhi, and now Kawhi's upset, or Lawrence
Upset.
Frank is up. Well, Lawrence Frank is supposedly upset that they didn't. You didn't hear all this. That he says, no, we had nothing to do with this. We wanted Kawhi to play. Kawhi wanted to play. It's just he's basically blaming it all on Grant Hill. That Grant Hill didn't want to play. And Grant Hill said this was a decision we made with the Clippers and Kawhi for the best for everybody. So they totally contradicted everything Grant Hill said, which I don't know which is true, but he don't need to be playing anyway. So
Yeah, listen, none of these guys with injury histories need to be playing when I
ridiculous.
understand it's the Olympics and that's cool and like it's something that you want to do and it's your country, but when you have a really high paying job that depends on your ability to be able to play and that's something that you haven't been able to do recently, you need to have all your efforts be going towards that.
One
And
thousand percent.
there's no way that you could say that hey, you were either unable to play in the playoffs or you were hampered and on the injury report every day in the playoffs, and now a month later you should be playing in this international tournament. That's just bullshit. There's
Sure.
nonsense. Yeah,
Well, I
absolutely.
want my guy playing in the Olympics as much as I want my guy, I'm fucking around with wild boars in the summer. I mean, come on, man. It just none of it makes sense. Not like you said when you have a job that I'm sure these guys have stuff in their contract. Like these guys, these professional athletes, they can't scuba dive. They can't. Seriously, they can't
I don't
skydive.
know about that. Listen,
No, no,
we
no. Some
saw
of
this
these,
guy
some of these have some of these
Bumgarner.
contracts.
Bumgarner, he hurt himself on a dirt bike.
And you know what, Nick? They were saying that the team was probably going to be upset with him over that because they're like, "What are you doing?" And I think these guys signed some things, man, that they're not going to be doing this super risky, physically risky shit in the summer. Or when the off season. That only makes sense.
No,
I want my guy bucking Broncos or riding wild bulls in the summer. No, Nimmo maybe.
I know that some guys have had to like write into their contract the fact that they were allowed to play pickup basketball or that they weren't
Right.
allowed because of stuff like that. And I mean, yeah, I listen, man. When you're making that big of an investment in a guy, it's
It is
I
not
don't begrudge
ridiculous.
teams for wanting to be able to control some stuff like that, or like having something in there where it says like a guy can't ride motorcycles. We saw what
That's
happened with
right.
Fernando Tatis Jr.
That's right.
And how that almost derailed his career. And when you have that much invested, you got to be able to limit some of those super risky behaviors. Of course, yeah, I get that
Especially
from
when
their
it's
point, but I also
guaranteed
get from
money.
the player's point, from the person's point, being like, I'm a person. Like I want to just be able to be a person. But you know what, dude?
Then
You got
then
this
go dig
small
ditches.
window
Go
where
dig
you're
ditches.
able to use your body to make these huge sums of generational money. Let's you're gonna retire in your 30s, bro. You're gonna have plenty of times to
Listen,
fucking do all this silly shit after that.
all of that is a ridiculous stance. You don't have to take this job.
Right.
You'd rather ride a dirt bike or jump out of an airplane? Then go do that. Or you want to come over here and make, $40 million a year and play a game. I mean, I don't begrudge them for the amount of money they make, but there may be limitations. Anybody who has a problem with that, tell your story walking.
Make sure you hit that like, tell all your friends, and give us a subscribe on or to follow on all platforms. We're trying to retire the big guy from his day job. Every little bit counts. Bronny. Bronny with the scrutiny of first overall pick, even though he was the 55th pick, as Kendrick Perkins, I saw him say earlier. And it's hasn't been a good showing for him so far in summer league. He has not shot the ball well, to the tune
Not at
of
all.
0 of 15 from 3-point range. He has had some defensive lapses, not getting back. It hasn't looked great. Hasn't looked great for Bronny. And there's been a lot of scrutiny. Like I said, Jaylen Brown was caught on the sideline speaking to a couple WNBA players, and it looked like, if you read his lips, he said, I don't think Bronny's a pro. And he didn't even try to walk that back. He just said, something about, being happy to see his growth. And it's just I feel for this kid a little bit, that he has such scrutiny on him. I mean, you have even, this guy Sar was 0 of 15 the other day, and he's the number 2 pick overall. Like, it's a summer league. Like, guys have tough
Right.
stretches, but
Right.
Bronny, man, if you're going to be a player who's going to stick around in this league, you're going to need to be a guy who can stick an open three.
I mean, listen, Sar, yeah, he had some bad times. We know he's a better player, but he could be a bust too. I mean, a lot of these foreign guys come over, they have all these high hopes, and they think they're so good. But and also he's huge. I mean, he's what, like 6'10"? There's a big
Yeah.
difference between having a bad game or two and you're 6'10" in the NBA, but we see you got skills, and being 6'1" and you can't shoot a jump shot. I mean, listen, man, I told you when we spoke about this weeks ago, Nick. I think LeBron. I have told you a million times. I think LeBron is a fine young man, great father, great leader, all of that. I think he did his son a disservice here. I don't think. Listen, if my son was the greatest thing since sliced bread on the court, I wouldn't go around telling everybody that before they saw him play. I would just let him play. Okay. I don't need to put that onus on my child. And I'm not saying he said he was the greatest thing since sliced bread. He should have just said nothing. Just let him play, Hope he gets drafted. In fact, if you want, and the other thing is, maybe Bron should have worked his magic somehow to get him drafted, but not necessarily to the Lakers. I told you from the start, I think that could be a hindrance because that now shines a spotlight on him much brighter because he's on the Lakers and his dad's team. And Nick, listen, I'm sorry, but you see it as well as I do. There's zero reason why this guy should be on the roster this year for the big team. If he
Yeah.
is, Nick, if he is, that's bullshit. And that's bad for Bronny, period. Because everyone's going to go at him harder and try to embarrass him, Nick. It's just the nature of the beast. And you're putting him in a terrible, terrible situation. It's just, I think he's put in a it's almost a no-win situation because he simply doesn't have the ability to explode and shine in this situation. I think at best, you might hope that he can tread water or do okay. I just don't think he's good enough right now to be a roster player in the NBA.
Yeah, and with the 55th pick, you're not necessarily looking for a guy who is going to even make your, team. But they went ahead and gave him like the 4-year deal. And I mean, Dad, the way that it's set up, like he's going to be on the opening day roster. Just as far as how his contract and everything is, like I think that is a foregone conclusion at this point.
I
And
guess.
I it'll be interesting, and hopefully this young man is able to figure it out, knock down some shots, and kind of get to a point of normalcy. But like you said, how hard is it going to be for him to get to that point in his current situation? And it's just it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I totally get it from Bron's point of view. I get why he did it. They said that they came out and they said that basically the only teams that he was willing to go to were either the Lakers or the Suns. The Suns owner has come out and said that they did have interest in him. They thought that he was a good fit. I think that that's them looking to make some sort of PR move, maybe a move to be able to get LeBron to do the twilight of his career, here in the desert. I can't see why else you would want to draft this kid and think that he's a good somebody that can, add to your team right now. The things that he does have going for him is the fact that, he is LeBron's son. So he has, both mentally and when it comes to tools that he's been actual physical tools, as well as some of the innate stuff. I think he has the ability to, if you're going to take a shot on somebody, why not this kid? I can get that mindset, but it's just unfortunate for him that he's had such a tough showing in summer league, because now that the temperature on that talk about whether or not Bron did the right thing and the nepotism and whether or not he deserves to be in the league, all of that has been ratcheted up by his performance so far in the summer league.
Listen, I don't understand, Nick, why he didn't stay in school. In fact, if you don't want to stay at USC, don't stay at USC if you're not getting a lot of burn there, because he wasn't even getting a lot of burn there and they're not that good. Go to a smaller school where you're going to get a lot of burn and play a lot of minutes. That's what he needs. I don't know that he'll ever be good enough to really be an NBA, this kind of player or whatever, but he needs more playing time. So now he's going to get it in the G League. Like I told you, Nick, I think it's a tough situation for him. And I get it that you say, oh, LeBron wouldn't mind people being hard on him and whatnot. If you're in that locker room, Nick, and you think that this dude sucks and he shouldn't even be on the team, and you and a couple guys feel that, guess what? You can't say that out loud. You can't say nothing about this guy. You got to hold your tongue, So everybody's got to be on eggshells around this guy. And that's not good because, when people are talking about you and whatnot, and then Bronny comes by and me like, hey, man, what are you guys doing, after practice? And they're like, nothing, man. We're going home. All right. It's not good, Nick. It's not good for him personally, man. I'm telling you, it's a tough spot for him. It's not good. Watch. Something's going to come out. Watch. Something's going to happen.
We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with that. There's no way to know. I don't think that that's going to be as big of a deal. I think that
you think guys on the team don't feel like Jaylen Brown?
Oof.
You know they do, Nick.
Right. There's got to be some guys that feel that way, right?
Nick, yeah. I mean, whoever is the 16th guy.
But he better
feel that way very much.
Listen, the guy who's like, getting cut and then re-signed and that type of shit. When he sees this guy, he's just got like a 4-year guaranteed deal,
and he just sitting with his feet up. Bronny's over there with his feet up.
Well, that's the thing, Bronny.
You over here.
The one thing, Bronny. the one, the one thing Bronny has to do is he has to be the tireless worker. And I'm sure, like,
I think he would be.
but you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah,
like
over
if
and above.
he's people have to be looking at him like, listen, I know the young man puts the work in, you know what I mean? And if he continues to put the work in, he's
1,000%.
gonna, like that has to be the narrative around him with his current situation for sure. And I can't see how he could not be that guy, considering that he, grew up as LeBron James Jr. You would think so. Have you watched Bron and the rest of his compatriots at all in the tune-ups for the Olympics that have been coming
Haven't
out? They
seen
played.
any of the games. Have seen a couple highlights. They look pretty good. I mean, but not so great. But listen, the NBA team in the Olympics has to be careful, man, because
Some people are saying that this is the best team since the Dream Team, even better than the
right,
Redeem Team. And then they go out and they end up having a close game with Australia. And it's like,
what I'm
all
trying to
right, let's
tell you,
take it
Nick,
easy.
is that these teams, like we've always spoken about in basketball, you can have teams that are super talented that have a bunch of stars and whatnot. But if you have some little Princeton type team who knows how to play together and back cuts and all that, they could give you a run. And somebody might give them a run like that, Nick. Oh, I wanted to bring up one other point about that Olympic team. What did you think about this guy? And I know what you're going to say, Anthony Edwards, and what he said. Well, they all got to play around me, and blah blah blah. What do you think about
I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to assert himself as like the alpha. He's trying to have his moment that we talk about when it comes to, Jordan and when he was in that 92 dream team practice and doing crazy shit. And, Bird and Magic looked at each other and was like, yo, it's officially his league now. But Jordan
that?
did that coming off the heels of just winning a championship, and he went out there and bust their ass in practice. He didn't
That's
say
right.
something bombastic in
Right.
a interview. And also, man, like, dude, man, we talking about LeBron, we talking about KD, we talking about
Yeah.
Steph Curry. Yo,
Come on.
chill, bro. Like,
Chill.
have a
Chill.
little bit of respect for your elders, seriously, in this situation. And I just thought it was, you just see it reeked of trying too hard. It reeked of trying too hard. He was trying to make a soundbite. You know what I mean? As
Right.
opposed to
It
just,
was immature.
yeah. I didn't love it. Now I will say, in that first tune-up game after that against Canada, he was cooking at certain points and doing some crazy shit on the baseline, like in and out, boom, boom. And it was like, dog, you could have just did that. You didn't need to say all this. All you had to do was come out in that first game and do that, and it would have said it for itself. And I usually like what I hear from Anthony Edwards. And I think that, he's a great young ball player and he is ready to take the league by storm. But I didn't love how he came across there.
I think Anthony Edwards is a great young ball player. A lot of talent. He talks too much. Okay. You didn't need. I always have said let other people praise you. Like you said, Jordan. That whole thing. Jordan didn't say a word. Jordan did it on the practice court, and he did it in the dream team on the court. It was undeniable when you watched him, right? Um, Anthony Edwards, come on, dude. I think you hurt your chances when you do say stupid shit like that. One, because other guys are going to try to prove you wrong. And, like you said, there are some legitimate great players on that team who still could possibly say they're greater than him. Now, is he younger, more athletic, and all that? Sure. But, I mean, I just think that was a really stupid thing to say. There was no good reason to say it. I mean,
No good reason is a perfect way to say it.
yeah, you be smarter about what you're doing, young man. And you know, I Nick, there's so much more to come in life from being humble. Okay, guys, now they think bombast and talking trash and whatnot is something that's almost required. Humility is the best way to gain leverage and gain notoriety because when other people say it about you, that's when it resonates. When you say it about yourself, that's a real good way to sound like a chump. And I think he sounded foolish right there. That was a foolish one.
One thing I could tell you for sure, Jalen Brunson would never.
That's right. That's right. Fact.
Catch us every week on YouTube or wherever you find your podcasts. Please follow, like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification button on all platforms. Really appreciate all the love. You can find us on all socials at he_did this to me. Love you, big guy.
Love you, kid. And hey, one more thing. Love you, Spurs. Coming to see you, big bro.
Uncle Spurgeon, my man.